Hey guys, it's Dr Duce back again with another great music tech tip for you. Now in today's video, I'll be demonstrating the power and flexibility of Logic's drummer tracks, guitar and bass tracks, as well as the groove track. Normally I'd start my productions with the rhythm section, normally the bass and drums. But on this occasion, I'll be starting with a keyboard progression, then I'll add a lead melody, followed by the bass and then the drums. And I'm sure it will all make sense once we get into it. So let's get started. Okay, so to kick things off, I'm going to be laying down an 8-bar keyboard chord progression. I'll be using Logic's electric piano plugin. It's a 200A. That sounds something like this. The project will be running at 89 beats per minute, so let's get started. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate it, repeat it, so we have 16 bars instead of 8. Let's see here. Right, and I'll join that together. That's J on the keyboard. That's just one long region. Now my second sound comes from the Logic stock retro synth plugin, and it sounds a bit like this. Just to give you an idea of the sound, what I'll do, I'll work out an actual melody line and I'll put that down. Okay, so once again, I'm going to duplicate the part so we have a full 16 bar section. So Command R to duplicate, and I'm just going to line this up to there and highlight both, J on the keyboard to join. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add is my bass liner. As I said earlier, this whole process is being done in reverse. Normally, I'd lay down the rhythm section first, which would be drums and bass, and then add the other layers on top, but I'm doing it backwards. I'm just working with a click. It's going to be a bit of a challenge because I normally would work out my bass part with the drums, but let's see what happens. I'm just going to work out a bass line and then I'll record it. Okay, so I've now worked out my bass line and I'm about to record it. So I'm going to create a new audio track, but this time I'm going to choose the guitar or bass option. Select that, and I'm using input 1, which is fine, and create. And now in the library you have this list of options that you can choose from in terms of the tone of the instrument that you're going to be laying down. By default, the guitar options come up, so if you scroll back to here, you'll see guitar and bass. Then you can choose the bass settings that work for you. So I'm going to go for a clean bass. I'm going to go for the tone sculptor. Yep, I'm ready to go. Okay, so now I'm just going to duplicate this once again. So Command R to repeat that. Okay, so again, we're working backwards. So we're going to be adding the drums to this section. We need to find some drums. First of all, a style that's going to work with this, a drum kit that's going to work with it as well, and a general groove that's going to complement what's already here. The drummer is going to have to adapt to what we've already got rather than us playing to the drummer's groove, which is normally the case. So let's see what we can come up with. To get started, we're going to hit the add new track option and choose drummer. Because it's more sort of an R&B sort of style, I'm going to go for R&B and create. Now over here we've got our different drummers. We've got modern R&B, neo soul, and modern Motown. I'm actually going to start off with neo soul, Curtis. Now down here you've got all of your different drum kits. So let me start off actually by just soloing the drums and looping them around, and so you can have an idea as to what the drums sound like, the grooves sound like. In fact, we need to move this in to bar 2 because that's where the progression starts. We'll do a little fill to pull things in later on. Okay, so let's have a listen. That's Curtis playing a neo soul style on a neo soul drum kit. Let's try a different kit. Okay. Right, so just looking at different kit options that you've got here. I mean, we won't be able to choose the kit until we've got the rest of the elements playing, but I just thought I'd give you an idea as to the different kit options and how quickly you can just switch from one kit to the next. So I think what I'll do is I'll just bring in the keyboards and the bass. So let's solo the bass. Let's solo the keys. Okay, and let's try and find a kit that works with that. That's all right, nice and close. Let's try this one, the Bluebird. Yeah, that's all right as well. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that too tough. No, that's not working for me. What about this one? Right, so rather than going through every single one, I'm just going to pick, I think it was the Blue Ridge. Okay, cool. We're going to stick with Blue Ridge. Right. Now, we've selected our drummer. We've selected our kit. We now can select the different types of grooves. So we're currently on Lay It Down. Let's try something different. Okay, let's try another one, freestyle. Okay, and let's try the rim shot as well. Okay, and finally, urban sweep. Okay, cool. I'm going to go back to Lay It Down. In fact, rim shot, I think. So, like I said, we've got our drummer, we've got our kit, we've got our rhythm. Now we've got even more control over here in terms of intensity and complexity. So let's mess with this vector control and let's see what we can come up with. So we're going to go soft but complex. Or loud. dead center. Cool. So that, you know, you got that great control there. Now over here as well, we've got these controls, which is the amount of swing and the fills as well at the end of each phrase. So let's have a listen to, let's take some of the swing off and then put it back on and just have a listen to how well the drummers swing. Now that's really straight. Let's yeah, now that's really cool. I'm going to go back to about 60%. You can also go in here as well, and you can set the push and pull. That's how like the urgency of the feel of the groove, you know, and ghost notes as well, adding those extra nuances to the rhythm. And you can also tell the hi-hat to automatically open and close depending on how the track's grooving. Again, great control. You can double up the timing as well. So let's go back here and just switch it to, oh, actually, yeah, we can half it. It was on 16th already. Let's listen to how it sounds half. Which doesn't quite work here, so back to 16th. Cool. We can also introduce some other elements. In fact, let's take the metronome. I think the metronome's on at the moment. Let's take that off. Click. There you go. Okay. Now that's great. Lots of control there so far. We can also go even deeper. We can click on. So if we come up here and click on the drum kit, now we can see the actual drum kit. We can swap out different sections. So for example, the kick drum. If we click on that, we have 3 kick options. You click here and you get some information as to what this is. A 24-inch by 18-inch kick drum. And so let's play that back and have a listen. Try another kick. Another one. Back to the original. And over here, we can tune the kick as well. We can add a certain amount of dampening and add gain to it as well, which is, again, great control. Let's try the snare. Okay, dampening. Let's try this one. Back to the original. Oh, let's go back in. Yeah, forgot about this. Now, let's pull this up a touch. Down the bottom, we've got additional controls, so we can adjust the gain of the different percussion elements. So at the moment, we've got the hand claps going. So let's boost that up. Okay. You know, okay, so that's cool. So the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to add another 8 bars of drums over here to fill this section. So I'm just going to hit this plus right here, and this is a duplicate of this drum rhythm. In this section, we want this section to be less dynamic. So let's just adjust the drummer. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll actually make this one. Yeah, let's make that one really dynamic. Cool. Okay, so I mean, you can adjust to your taste. I can bring this all the way down here so it's a lot softer. That's what you can do for each section. What we'll do here as well is we're going to just, duplicate this again. And this time I'm just going to shrink this right down to 1 bar, and I'll put this over here. Okay, just have a nice fill. And now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to switch off the kick and the claps, and I'll just have the toms. Let's make it more dynamic. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it could be better if I was to take time with it. I'm sure I can come up with something a lot better. Okay, so now there are a couple more things I want to show you to do with the drummer before we move on to the bass. And if we were to if we're sitting on the drummer track, we come up to smart controls, we can control, we've got even more control over the volume, compression and effects sends for the drummer unit as a whole, also EQ. You can set that up right here. Let's go back to there. One of the things that you might want to do when you're working with drummer is you get the groove down, but then you might want to swap out certain elements, maybe the kick drum and the snare, with your own kick or snare sample. Now what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate, I'm going to right click on this track right here, and I'm going to go to duplicate a new track with duplicate settings. Okay, and I'm going to option click, drag, drop down. So I've got a duplicate section of the drummer. Okay, so these two are exactly the same. Now I'm going to right click on this and go down to convert, come down to convert to MIDI region. All right, now what we've got here, the beauty of this is now we've got the exact same pattern, but it's not in sort of wave type format. It's now MIDI. Let's switch this off and have a listen. Okay, so what I generally do is I normally, when I'm working with this, I collapse all of the drums down to only the essentials, the ones that are actually playing. Okay, so let's say, for example, I wanted to get swap out my kick drum for a kick sample. So first of all, you come through the list, which is really handy because everything's listed, and that's the kick drum right there. So I select the kick, come up to edit. I mean, there's a key command which I forget at the moment. Select inverse, which is right, invert selection. Okay, and now delete. So I've deleted everything besides the kick drum. Right, so that's done. And what's great about doing it this way is the dynamics. We keep the dynamics. So some hits are some kicks are loud, some kicks are quieter, and the variation is there. So when you substitute this with your sample, you'll still get those dynamics. So now what we'll do is we'll create a brand new software instrument, EXS24 sampler, load my 70s and 80s kicks, and I'm just pull this down here now. Now, of course, I need to figure out which kick is going to work best. So what I generally do, come up to transpose. So I'm going to transpose in the region, simply the plus or minus keys on your keyboard. So continue transposing until I find the sound that I like. Yeah, I like that. Okay, +3 works. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, it's a nice firm kick. I mean, you can keep going. I think I'll run with that, because what I'll do now, let's see, if I come out from here and just have the drums and this kick solo, let's go into here, let's switch these off and have a listen to the kick drums. Right, so that's drummer's kick. and now my 70s and 80s kick added. Right, and what I can do as well is I can put these elements back in and take out this kick and have a listen. Okay, let's bring that one back in. And it's just a case of adjusting volumes and layering, getting them to complement one another. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you on Drummer is this great function that Logic has, which is the groove function. Now, if you were to just right click on any of these tracks, come down to the bottom and go to Configure Track Header. You come down here near the bottom and you choose Groove Track. Okay, and just click away, and now the groove track has been initiated. You come over to this section over here onto number 4. You see where that star is? You click on that, and now there's a star against the drummer track. Now what you've just told Drummer is that the whole production can now groove to the drums. So if I now select the bass, tick that, the bass will now groove to the drummer. And especially because we've done this back to front, ordinarily the bass and drums will be recorded at the same time, so they will groove together during the recording session. However, the drums are being put on last, so we're having to adapt things now to the drums. Okay, so now let's have a listen to that. You can actually hear the bass line change somewhat. Now as I switch this on and off, look at what happens to the bass region. Okay, so you can see the adjustments taking place, which of course will impact on the notes that are being played and how they're being played. Okay, but I'm going to go without grooving on this particular track. I'd spend more time refining the drummer pattern to exactly what I want, and that's what I'm trying to show you, is that the level of control that you have over the drummer, and it's really intuitive. It's real simple. You know, you move, you come in here, you switch things on and off, you move this around until you're happy. You try just different grooves, you switch on the library, you try out different drummers and just different kits, and you're good to go. You know, it's real, and it's actually quite fun to do. And of course you can reinforce some of the sounds with some of your favorite drum samples. Now the final bit I'm going to show you is that Logic comes with these fantastic setups for guitars and basses. So we're obviously on the bass category. Let's check out some of the options and see what might work well with this groove and with this bass line. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to switch on some of the things I've got on the master channel strip, and I'm going to send my kit through to one of my favorite plugins, which is the Isotope Alloy, and let's have a quick listen while we just go through these bass tones. Yeah, now I really like this one, Hi-Fi DI. Okay, so it's direct inject, and what I like about this is because I recorded the bass with a lot of top end, a lot of high frequency, and now that's kind of dumbed it down a little bit and added more bottom end to the actual overall bass tone. So hopefully that has helped. I've covered quite a lot in this tutorial, but I've tried to keep it fairly simple. Now, if you've got any questions at all, if anything's unclear, do remember to drop me a line. It's always great hearing from you, and I'll be back real soon with more. I'm Dr. Duce. Peace.